Looked away and said the words that would stay with her for years. I think we should end this. It felt like the ground disappeared beneath her feet. What? Why? Her voice trembled. Did I do something wrong? No, it's not that. Then what is it? Daniel exhaled as if trying to make something difficult sound reasonable. I've been thinking about the future, about life after high school. He paused. I need to be practical. Jane's chest tightened. Practical? I'm with Amanda now. The name hit her like a slap. Amanda, the rich girl, the one with everything Jane didn't have. Jane felt her throat close. You replaced me. It's not like that, Daniel said quickly. She just understands where I want to go in life. And I don't? He didn't answer right away. That silence said everything. Jane, you know things are hard for you, he continued. Your family, your situation. You might not even go to college. Each word cut deeper than the last. I can't risk my future, he added quietly. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. So that's it, she whispered. You're choosing someone else, because she's rich. I'm choosing a future, Daniel said. Jane swallowed the pain rising in her chest. And I'm not part of that future? He didn't answer. That was enough. For a moment she wanted to beg him to stay. She wanted to remind him of all the promises they made, the laughter, the dreams. But instead, she straightened her back. Okay, she said, her voice barely steady. If that's what you want, then go. Daniel looked at her, surprised by her calmness. I'm sorry, he murmured. Jane nodded, even though her heart was breaking. Me too. She turned and walked away before he could see the tears finally fall. That night, Jane cried harder than she ever had in her life, but somewhere between the pain and the silence, something changed. She wiped her tears and looked at herself in the mirror. They think I have no future, she whispered, her hands clenched into fists. I'll show them. The years that followed were anything but easy. Right after high school, Jane didn't have the luxury of choosing her path. She had to work. She landed a job as a mail clerk in a large software company in the city. It wasn't the kind of job people dreamed about. She spent her days sorting envelopes, delivering packages between departments, and standing for hours until her feet ached. But that job came with something priceless, a chance. The company offered tuition assistance for employees who wanted to study. Jane didn't hesitate. She enrolled. Her life became a cycle of exhaustion. Wake up early, work all day, attend night classes, study until her eyes burned, sleep for a few hours, then do it all over again. There were nights she almost gave up, nights when her body was too tired to move, when her mind refused to absorb another word from her textbooks. There were days she walked through the office, holding back tears because of the pressure. Sometimes, she would sit alone during breaks, staring at her hands, wondering if Daniel had been right all along. Maybe this was too much. Maybe she didn't belong in this world. But then, she would remember his words. You might not even go to college. And something inside her would ignite again. So she kept going, step by step, year by year. Slowly, things began to change. She graduated, then she got promoted, then she learned more, pushed harder, and took bigger risks. What once felt impossible started becoming real. Jane wasn't just surviving anymore. She was building something. 15 years later, the world was very different. A pandemic swept across cities, shutting down businesses and taking away jobs from thousands of people. Jane watched it all from her office window. She was no longer the girl people pitied. She was now the owner of a successful shipping company. Her office was large, bright, and quiet, a place she had once only dreamed of entering. Yet despite everything she had achieved, she never forgot where she came from, or who she used to be. One morning, her HR manager knocked on her door. We have a walk-in applicant for a driver position, she said. Experienced, but seems like he's been through a lot. Jane nodded. Go ahead and interview him first. Minutes later, the HR manager returned briefly. Ma'am, she said, placing the file on the desk. This is the applicant I mentioned. He seems capable. Jane reached for the folder. As she opened it, her breath caught. The name, Daniel. For a moment, the room felt smaller. Memories rushed back. The school gate, the breakup, the pain. She closed the folder slowly, steadying herself. "Send him in," she said quietly. The HR manager stepped outside and called Daniel. "Ma'am would like to see you," she said. As Daniel stood up, he followed her toward the office. The door was slightly open, and then he saw her. He froze. That face, that presence, it couldn't be. Jane, the same Jane he once walked away from. His chest tightened. What is she doing here? Then it hit him. The office, the authority, the way people spoke to her. She wasn't just working there. She owned the place. A heavy feeling settled in his stomach. Of all places. Why here? His thoughts spiraled. She's going to reject me. No, worse, she might humiliate me. After what I did, I deserve it. "Come in," the HR manager said, gesturing for him to step inside. Daniel moved slowly. Each step toward that office felt like walking back into his past. When he entered, Jane was seated behind her desk. Calm, composed, different, but still unmistakably her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Time seemed to pause. "Hello, Daniel," Jane said gently. Her voice was steady. No anger, no bitterness. That surprised him more than anything. "Hello, Jane," he replied. He remained standing, unsure of what to do. "Please have a seat," she said. He obeyed, though his mind was racing. This is it, he thought. She's going to remind me of everything. He braced himself. Jane picked up his file. "I see you have many years of driving experience," she said. "Yes, I used to drive buses before," he replied. "But when the pandemic hit, routes were reduced. Eventually, I lost my job." Jane nodded. "And how have you been managing since then?" Daniel hesitated, then answered honestly. "Not easy," he admitted. "I've been taking whatever work I can find. My wife, she also lost her job recently. She was working at a mall." The words felt heavy as they left his mouth. Jane listened quietly. No judgment, no reaction. That made him even more nervous. Why is she being like this? Finally, she closed the file and looked at him. "You're hired." Daniel blinked. "What?" "You're hired," she repeated. He stared at her, unable to process what he just heard. "Why?" he asked before he could stop himself. Jane tilted her head slightly. "Why not?" Daniel shook his head. "After everything, I thought—" He hesitated. "That I would take revenge?" Jane finished calmly. He looked down, embarrassed. Jane leaned back slightly, her expression thoughtful. "I won't pretend it didn't hurt," she said. "What happened back then? It broke me." Daniel's chest tightened. "But it also changed me," she continued. He looked up. "It pushed me to work harder, to prove something, not to you, not to anyone else, but to myself." Her voice softened. "If things had gone differently, I might not be here today." Daniel was silent. "So in a way," Jane added with a small smile, "you helped me." He felt a mix of relief, regret, and something he couldn't quite name. Then Jane continued. "You mentioned your wife is also looking for work?" Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes. We have an opening in our warehouse office," Jane said. "If she's interested, she can apply. I'll make sure she's given a fair chance." Daniel looked at her, stunned, not because of the opportunity, but because of the kindness. "I don't know what to say," he admitted. Jane smiled gently. "You don't have to say anything." For the first time since he entered the room, Daniel felt something lift from his chest. Not guilt, not fear, but something close to peace. And as he walked out of that office, he realized something he never expected to learn. The person he once thought had no future, had become someone far greater than he ever imagined. Not just successful, but strong enough to forgive.